Welcome to Mishna study Masechet Yoma Perek Bet Mishna Aleph. In this Mishnah, we're going to discuss how to decide who removes the ashes from the Mizbeach, right? So all the Kohanim wanted to participate. Remember, there's 24 Mishmarot of Kohanim, right? 24 groups of Kohanim. Every week, a different family would work. And during that Mishmara, during that week, each day would be broken out into different families within that group. Right, so you really don't have that many opportunities to, do different services in the Beit HaMikdash. So everyone wanted to perform these services. Well, so Shona in the beginning, anyone that wanted to come do the removal of the ashes from the Mizbeach, he'd go ahead and do so. Let's say there are a lot of people. Right? There are many Kohanim that are running to do this work early in the morning. They run up the ramp. Whoever reaches the top of the ramp within 4 amot of the Mizbeach, which are the top 4 amot of the ramp, he's the one that zocheh, he merits, he gets to do it. Let's say 2 people were equal. So right? So the person over there in charge, he'd say, that's it, we're gonna have a lottery. So everyone stick out a finger, sort of like 21st finger, right? 21st finger is it. So they're going to do so. How do they do so? What can they put out? They could put out a one or a 2. That's what they could put out. And the Mishnah ends, En motzi'in gudal b'mikdash. You're not allowed to stick out your thumb in the Beit HaMikdash. All right, so firstly, why aren't we just counting them? Why can't we just say 1, 2, 3, 4, count them? So we know not allowed to count people, right? We know the story of David HaMelech. There was a terrible plague that came because David decided to count the people of Israel, right? A famous story in Sefer Shemuel. So we're not allowed to count people of Israel. Rather, we can count their fingers. Okay, now, how does this work? Right? How does this work counting the fingers? So Harambam, I'll just point out at the end of the Mishnah, he says, he explains what he does, and he explains it, and we'll explain how Harambam explains this. It's different than other Rishonim, to the point where he says, know this and understand how I explained this lottery, because it was not understood by any of the Gaonim who were able to read and really fit it with the language of the Talmud, because he said, from the language of the Talmud, it's really very hard to understand at a Iyun Rishon what is meant, but he's going to explain it to us. Not only that, but he actually has a shoot, right? Rambam has a responsa, Pe'er Hador, and he over there actually writes in his responsa to the Chachamim in Sor and Tyre, right, the students of Rabbeinu Ephraim, who actually asked him this question: how did this lottery play out? He explains it to them, and then he also explains how it fits with the language of the Gemara, which is really interesting. We're not going to get into that now, but I will explain how he explains it over here in the Pirush Mishnah. So they get up, right? They get up to the top. There's multiple people, so he'd line them up in a row, or as he says, either in a circle or a row. And what happened was the person they would come to an agreement, right? The Mimuneh, right? The person in charge would say, okay, everyone put out a finger, right? And everyone's standing up, and they come to an agreement of what number they're going to reach. Okay, 30, 40, 50. They could pick a number, right? And then he's going to choose, right, who they're going to start from. And everyone goes at the same time, and they either put out a 1 or a 2. If they're weak, they just put out a 1. If they're strong enough to hold their finger, more fingers back, then they put out a 2. And then they count them in order. And whoever ends up by that number, if they pick the number, 50, so whoever's the 50th finger, they're the one who wins, right? Okay, great. Now, why can't you stick out your thumb? What's wrong with sticking out your thumb? So Rambam explains that if they're counting, right, you stick out one and you want to stick out another one, right? It's not that easy to go ahead and trick, right? But let's say you had one finger out, right, and you wanted to go ahead and stick out your thumb, just go like that, right? It's just so easy to trick the system, and you could really make it fall out on you, right? You see, it's gonna, they're going around, and you see you need one more for it to fall out on you, so you just stick out your thumb. Or if you had your thumb in, you just tuck it in. Right? It's very easy to trick the system and let it fall on you. So that's why that's why you're not allowed to stick out a thumb in the Beit HaMikdash. That's Harambam's Pirush over here. You should know it's very different than other Rishonim, right? Bartanura, she actually say that you can put out a 1 or a 2, but either way they're counting it as one number. No, according to Harambam, you put out a 1 or a 2, and they're going to count it either as 1 or 2, right? It really fits with the more the pshat of the language, but also the way he fits into the Talmud, to the Gemara, is a nice, interesting read. If anyone has time, you can look at it. It's Siman 126 in his shoot.